Namaste and welcome to NCPCR's webinar on care for children with special needs in COVID-19. Now, this subject has been vastly, I would say, underreported in the news, but it's very, very important. We have a very exciting expert panel today. We're joined by 5 other panelists, and they are all experts in their own field. So I'm going to have them do an introduction of themselves. Before I do that, my name is Priyanka Deo from YouTube channel New India Junction. I will be moderating the session, but why don't we go ahead and have our guests introduce themselves, because we don't have so much time. So let's get right into it. We're joined by Dr. Singh. Namaste. Thank you for being here. Dr. Rao, Dr. Seshadri, Chairperson of NCPCR, Priyank Kanungu, and Dr. Ahuja. So welcome guests, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Very honored that you could take your time out and talk about this important subject. And let's get right into the intros. Why don't we start with NCPCR Chairperson, Mr. Priyank Kanungu, to introduce himself and then also tell us a little bit about the fantastic webinars that you're putting together during COVID-19.
नमस्कार। ये पूरे कोविड-19 के लॉकडाउन्स के दौरान हम लोगों ने अनेक विषयों पर बात करी है। हमने स्ट्रीट चिल्ड्रन पर बात की है, हमने उन बच्चों के लिए बात की जो घर के अंदर अपने माता-पिता के साथ रहते हुए स्कूल्स बंद होने के कारण या किसी और परेशानियों के कारण खुद को असुरक्षित महसूस कर रहे हैं। हमने उन बच्चों के बारे में बात की जिनका समय नहीं कट रहा है और उनको अच्छी-अच्छी बातें सिखाने के लिए रोज हम एक बाल सभा लेकर आए हैं। लेकिन जो दिव्यांग बच्चे हैं वो हमारी प्रायोरिटी पे हैं और उनकी देखभाल इस कोविड-19 के दौरान किस प्रकार की जानी चाहिए, इस विषय पर भी सभी लोगों तक जानकारियां पहुंचना बहुत जरूरी है। इसलिए हमने विशेषज्ञों से ये आग्रह किया। डॉक्टर राव, डॉक्टर शेषाद्री, डॉक्टर आहूजा, सभी लोगों ने इस विषय पर हम लोगों को अपना वक्त दिया है। मैं बहुत आभारी हूँ डॉक्टर राव का, डॉक्टर आहूजा का, डॉक्टर शेषाद्री, जिन सभी लोगों ने हमको आज इस वेबिनार के लिए वक्त दिया और उम्मीद करता हूँ कि जो बच्चे घर पर हैं या जो बच्चे चाइल्ड केयर इंस्टीट्यूशंस में हैं, उनको इस वेबिनार के थ्रू ठीक जानकारी मिलेगी, उनके केयर टेकर्स को, उनके माता-पिता को, कि किस प्रकार से ऑटिज्म के बच्चे हैं या सेरेब्रल पॉलिसी से ग्रसित बच्चे हैं या फिर वो बच्चे जो फिजिकली किसी कारण दिव्यांग हैं, उनको किस प्रकार की देखभाल की वैकल्पिक व्यवस्थाएं जब उनके केयर टेकर्स प्रॉपरली घर पे नहीं आ पा रहे हैं और सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग को फॉलो करते हुए क्या हो सकता है, वो हमें इन विशेषज्ञों से जानने को मिलेगा। आप सभी का बहुत-बहुत स्वागत है।
Thank you, Mr. Kanungu. And let's, before we get started into the actual content of the program, why don't
मैं एक सेकंड का वक्त लूंगा आपका। डॉक्टर ए.के. सिंह मैं जिक्र करना भूल गया। डॉक्टर ए.के. सिंह साहब राष्ट्रीय बाल स्वास्थ्य कार्यक्रम के एडवाइजर हैं और इनकी सेवाएं देश के बच्चों को हमेशा मिलती रही हैं और राष्ट्रीय बाल अधिकार संरक्षण आयोग भी बहुत आभारी है कि डॉक्टर सिंह ने हमेशा हमको हर परिस्थिति में मदद की। प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
Thank you. And actually, you segued right into what I was going to say. Dr. Singh, you've done so much fantastic work. Why don't we start with you? Why don't you introduce yourself for our audience here?
There is nothing more to add than that we are all a part of the same country, feeling and understanding COVID-19. But yes, by training, I'm a pediatrician. And I've been looking after children program and also teaching pediatrics.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Singh. Why don't we have Dr. Sheshadri? Why don't you introduce yourself for us?
सबको नमस्कार। आशा करता हूं कि जितने भी लोग इस वेबिनार को सुन रहे हैं, आप लोग स्वस्थ हैं और सुरक्षित हैं। मेरा नाम शेखर शेषाद्री है। मैं बेंगलोर में स्थापित राष्ट्रीय मानसिक स्वास्थ्य और स्नायु विज्ञान संस्था, जो केंद्रीय सरकार स्वास्थ्य और परिवार कल्याण मंत्रालय के तहत आता है, ये टीचिंग पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट हॉस्पिटल है। बहुत पुराना अस्पताल है, 100 साल करीब होने वाले हैं इस अस्पताल को। यहाँ बाल और किशोर मनोरोग विभाग में मैं सीनियर प्रोफेसर के हैसियत से काम कर रहा हूँ और मेरा काम बच्चों के मानसिक स्वास्थ्य से है और उनके विकास से है। और इस वेबिनार में शामिल होने के लिए मुझे बड़ी खुशी है। नमस्कार।
Sorry, thank you for being here. Dr. Ahuja, why don't you introduce yourself for us?
Namaskar. I'm very happy to be part of this.
Dr.
This
Ahuja, I think your
webinar.
mic is muted.
I can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Your mic is still muted.
It's not. It shows not. Just a minute. It shows that it's not muted.
Nope.
On my. Can you hear me now?
No.
No. Okay. Then you can go to the next person. I'll come back to you. Is it muted or-
While
Perhaps-
she's actually, Dr. Ahuja, we can't hear you, so why don't you try to work it out?
Yeah,
in the
I'll work
meantime,
it
do
out.
we have Dr. Rao?
Rohit.
No, I think Dr. Ahuja, we still cannot hear you. So as soon as you get your mic fixed, let's wait for your introduction. But in the meantime,
You can't
the
hear
one thing
me.
that I want to ask, why don't we just get right to the first question, so that Dr. Ahuja can fix her mic and give an intro. I want to ask Dr. Singh, what is the lands now? What are some common problems? You said that you were also a pediatrician. So now, especially during COVID-19, this is okay. Sorry to interrupt, Dr. Singh. I think we can hear Dr. Ahuja. Why don't we have her give her introduction?
Oh, okay. You can hear me then. All right. I am Anupama Ahuja. I work in NCERT. I'm a professor in special needs education. The focus of my work is how all children can be with each other and be treated equally and love each other and look after each other. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Did you get that? Yeah. Could you get my intro?
I think I'm the only one that's having a little bit of difficulty hearing you, but
Okay.
yeah. Let me try to fix that. But I think let's get right into the first question, because I'd like to hear from everyone since you guys come from diverse fields. But first, let's start out with Dr. Singh. What is the lay of the land now? As you said before, and as Mr. Kanungu was saying, that it is a very challenging time, especially for parents and caregivers, to deal with children who are differently abled, especially in this scenario. So, what are some of the common problems that you see? And I think we are just sorry to interrupt for a second time, but let's have Dr. Rao also give her introduction. I think she just logged in. Dr. Rao, if you could give your introduction, please.
Yeah, Namaste. I'm sorry, some disruption. I'm sorry about it. I'm Dr. Indumati Rao, and I'm working as regional advisor for CBR Network, Community-Based Rehabilitation Network, which is based in Bangalore. We work in 8 countries in South Asia. So I was also chairing the Global Partnership for Disability and Development initiated by the World Bank Trust Fund. So I'm working as vice chairperson for National Bal Bhavan. So I'm working more in the villages, and we have initiated some work on how to help parents during the lockdown period. Thank you. You could all hear it. Sorry, should I repeat? Okay. Yeah.
Yep, I also I heard you. Sorry for that. I think we're having some technical slags here, but thank you for that, Dr. Rao, and thank you so much for joining us. Excited to hear a little bit more from you. Now, finally, let's go back to Dr. Singh and let's open up the actual discussion. Why don't you start by giving our audiences a lay of the land? Because as I said before in the introduction, very briefly, this issue of having differently abled children has gone vastly underreported in media, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I wouldn't even say in India, but across the world. So can you give us a lay of the land of perhaps some common challenges that parents, caregivers, and the children themselves are dealing with?
So thank you, Dr. Priyanka. ऐसा है कि जब भी हम किसी बच्चे को, अगर वो स्वाभाविक बच्चा भी है, हम उसको घर में बंद कर देते हैं, उसको नेचर से दूर कर देते हैं, उसकी जो रूटीन होती है कि कभी वो पार्क जाता है, कभी दोस्तों से मिलता है, ये सारी चीजें अगर अचानक बंद कर दी जाए और उसको एक टीवी स्क्रीन के सामने, एक फोन के सामने लगा दिया जाए, तो मेरा ख्याल है कि बच्चे के लिए आज टैगोर साहब का जन्मदिन भी है और टैगोर ने हमेशा लिखा था कि बच्चों को पिंजड़े में मत बंद करो. In fact, he has a very famous teaching, the parrots teaching. तो मेरा ये ख्याल है कि कोविड के लिए जरूरी है कि हम मिक्स नहीं करें, लेकिन इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि बच्चे बाहर आए ही नहीं. डिस्टेंस मेंटेन करके शायद बच्चों को बाहर आना चाहिए और बच्चों को नेचर के साथ करना चाहिए. और माँ बाप को ये ध्यान देना चाहिए कि इवन स्वाभाविक बच्चा भी, और मैं पहले ही कह दूं कि इस विषय पे देश के जो सबसे अच्छे मनोवैज्ञानिक विशेषज्ञ हैं, डॉक्टर साहब हैं, जिनको कि मैं हमेशा उनसे सुनना चाहता हूं, डॉक्टर शेखर शेषाद्री, वो भी हमारे पैनल पे, वो भी और डिटेल्स में आपको बताएंगे. लेकिन तो ये मैंने कहा कि नॉर्मल बच्चों के लिए भी है कि भाई सूर्यास्त देखने दीजिए, चांद देखने दीजिए, तारे देखने दीजिए, नेचर के साथ उनको संपर्क में रखिए. बच्चों को किसी जेल खाने में बंद मत कर दीजिए. और सबसे ज्यादा जो मैं डर रहा हूं कि ये जो टीवी और स्मार्टफोन और आजकल टीचिंग भी इस पे हो रही है, ये जो टाइम है, देखा गया है कि जब आप 1-1.5 घंटे से ज्यादा जो है वो डिजिटल टाइम देते हैं, तो शायद बच्चे जो हैं वो, बच्चों का मस्तिष्क भी कहीं लॉकडाउन ना हो जाए. मैं इससे डर रहा हूं. अब आगे बात की उन बच्चों से जिनमें कोई समस्या थी. अब इसका जो चैलेंज है, मैं आपसे वास्तविक रूप में 2 चीजें कहना चाहूंगा. सबसे कि जो बच्चा आज पैदा हुआ है, पहले 1000 दिन में, पहले 2 साल में पैदा होने के बाद करीब 80 से 90% उसका ब्रेन बनता है. और अगर इनका ज्ञानेंद्रिय का बहुत बड़ा रोल है इस ब्रेन को बनने में. माँ जब कहती है कि ये कौवा है, तो वो कौवा देखना शुरू करता है तो 2 तार ब्रेन में जुड़ते हैं. माँ कोई गाना सुनाती है मातृभाषा में, तो बच्चा सुनता है तो समझता है. ये जो सारे इनपुट्स हैं, इनके लिए हमारे सारे सेंसरी ऑर्गन चाहिए. यहाँ तक कि बच्चा जब मिट्टी पे चलता है तो उसके ब्रेन को सेंसेशन मिलती है कि मिट्टी नरम है या मिट्टी सख्त है. ऐसे में अगर कोई समस्या उसके सेंसरी ऑर्गन से है तो उसके ब्रेन पर सीधा असर पड़ता है. मैं अभी थोड़ी देर पहले ही बात कर रहा था कि ये बच्चों को अगर ये समय चला जाएगा तो बहुत मुश्किल होगा. तो मैं सबसे पहले आप सब लोगों का शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ कि आप लोगों ने इस विषय पे सोचा है. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. आज मान लीजिए किसी बच्चे को क्लब फुट है, उसे प्लास्टर की जरूरत है. मैं सोच रहा हूँ जब कोविड चला जाएगा तब मैं लेके बच्चे को जाऊंगा, या अस्पताल से मुझे डर है, वो परमानेंट डैमेज हो सकता है और शायद हम उस प्रक्रिया से बाहर नहीं.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Now, a follow-up to that, and I'd like to ask Dr. Sheshadri about it. At the end of the day, it is a change of routine, right? You can, of course, you should go outside, as Dr. Singh was saying. Child should be exposed to nature. As little, I would say, mental stress, psychological stress as possible But at the end of the day, COVID-19 has presented a challenge in that it is a complete change of routine, both for the caretaker as well as the child. Can you describe perhaps some ways where the impacts of this stress and this anxiety that it causes amongst children can be reduced?
I would like to address this, Priyanka, in two forms. I want to give a framework and a premise to what you have asked and link it to the issue that Dr. Arun just referred to. तो
Sure.
डॉक्टर अरुण ने जो कहा है उससे उस विचार से मैं संधि करके कुछ संकल्पनात्मक चीजें आपसे कहना चाहता हूं प्रियंका के प्रश्न के उत्तर में. The first thing we need to understand is the influence of power and privilege on the experience of an epidemic, that there is disproportionate impact on the most vulnerable people. सत्ता का, पावर का जो प्रभाव होता है एक एपिडेमिक पे, उसका सबसे ज्यादा प्रभाव उस समुदाय पे होता है जो सबसे कमजोर है, खास करके बच्चे और बच्चों में भी जिनमें दिव्यांग स्थिति हो किसी भी तरह की. दूसरी बात हमें यह पहचाननी चाहिए कि जब हम दिव्यांग स्थिति, स्पेशल नीड्स चिल्ड्रन, कम्युनिटी बेस्ड रिहैबिलिटेशन, हेल्थ, उनका स्वास्थ्य, शिक्षा और एजुकेशन से जुड़ी हुई जो बातें हैं, एजुकेशनल इश्यूज एंड मेंटल हेल्थ, if you combine them together, what does it mean from the perspective of an agency like the National Commission of Protection of Child Rights? जहां तक कि अधिकार, बाल अधिकार का प्रश्न है, there is a focus on the denial or the violation of rights. तो एक तो ये बात हो गई कि लॉकडाउन के दरमियान what are the processes, not deliberately, not consciously, not perversely, but because of the nature of the lockdown itself, these rights get denied. But protection of child rights is not just being vigilant about denial or violation of rights, it is also about enablement of rights. तो बाल अधिकार को हम कैसे सपोर्ट करके रखते हैं इस तरह के विचित्र अद्भुत मौके पे जो मानव जाति के इतिहास में 120 साल पहले स्पेनिश इन्फ्लुएंजा के टाइम हुआ था. It is after 120 years that we have a pandemic of this magnitude. That. So to come back to the question that Priyanka asked, we need to understand this question from the perspective of what happens to young children, छोटे उम्र के जो बच्चे हैं. What happens to children with disability in institutions from its rights perspective? तो संस्थाओं में जो बच्चे हैं जो दिव्यांग हैं, उन पे क्या होता है? उन बच्चों के साथ क्या होता है जिनकी स्पेशल नीड्स की तीव्रता मामूली है, मध्यम और तीव्र लेवल पे नहीं है, आंगनवाड़ियां बंद है. Now, just as Dr. Arun Singh is heading a flagship program of the National Health Mission, which is the राष्ट्रीय बाल स्वास्थ्य कार्यक्रम, भारत में कल्याण का अंतरराष्ट्रीय सबसे बड़ा कार्यक्रम है. The biggest welfare program in the whole world, the Integrated Child Development Program. Now, Anganwadis are closed. This is their preschool education. Please pay attention to the point that Dr. Arun Singh made. Brain development occurs maximally in the first 3 years of life. 90%, 90% दिमाग का आर्किटेक्चर जो है वो 3 साल में संपन्न हो जाता है. और दिव्यांग बच्चों में इस तरह के छोटपन की उम्र में स्टिमुलेशन कम हो जाए तो उस पे क्या असर हो सकता है. So we need to keep this in mind and therefore pay attention to the context of the question that Priyanka is asking. There is loss of routine, there is loss of learning opportunities, there is loss of special education services, there is loss of interaction, there is loss of social spaces, and there is loss of predictability. देखिए क्या क्या खो चुके हैं दिव्यांग बच्चे. सामान्य दिनचर्या खो चुके हैं, सीखने की संदर्भ जो है वो खो चुके हैं, स्पेशल विशेष सर्विसेज सेवाएं खो चुके हैं, इंटरैक्शन खो चुके हैं, सामाजिक स्थल खो चुके हैं और भविष्यवाणी करना यह क्षमता खो चुके हैं. और जैसे अरुण सिंह ने कहा, दिव्यांग बच्चों के लिए ये 5 इंद्रियां जो है, दृष्टि, ध्वनि, गंध, रुचि और स्पर्श, इसमें स्टिम्युलेशन नहीं मिले लॉकडाउन के अंतर, वैसे भी दिव्यांग बच्चे एक तरह से लॉकडाउन जीवन व्यतीत करते हैं, तो लॉकडाउन के अंदर लॉकडाउन हो, just imagine the amount of compromising that can occur in their stimulation. So this is the framework that I wanted to present, and there are remarkable and simple solutions to this. Indumati ji, who has many years of work, and Anupam ji, who have many years of work in the area of rehab and education, have simple tools that we use in the community with parents that can actually mitigate this situation. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for that description. And I think that that is important because, as I said, this issue has, it goes unreported. So a lot of people are just unaware. It doesn't strike them. We've talked about issues that can happen at home and serious issues in terms of domestic violence, but a lot of people are just unaware that this issue is so prevalent, not just in India, but across the world. Of course, our focus today is in India, but thank you so much for providing that context. Now, I want to ask Dr. Rao, what are some ways, as Dr. Seshadri was saying, there are some very simple ways or perhaps some home tactics that parents and caretakers can use to reduce this stress and anxiety in children. So why don't you tell us, I know that you have been doing a lot of community work or work at the community level, I should say, as well as a lot of initiatives of what parents can do, what caretakers can do. First, why don't you describe your work a little bit and also tell us, tell the audience, I'm sure they are dying to know at this point, what are some simple tactics that can perhaps reduce the stress and anxiety, especially in differently abled children?
Okay.
I think, Dr. Rao, your mic is muted, so we cannot hear you. Dr. Rao, can you hear us?
Yeah. Now it's okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There we go.
So this is exactly happens with technology when we start using it suddenly. So this is what has happened to many parents where children with special needs, I would not put it under say different levels of intensity, but most of the parents had no clue what to do. So this is something like in Sanskrit we say Yuddha Kale Shastrabhyasa. So it is not correct for us to start practicing all these vidyas of technology when we had such a big, I would say it is almost like a disaster, like preparedness was so critical. No one really, of course it is something unforeseen, but I would say that we should really look at the preparedness and include such man-made natural disasters and increase the preparedness of the education and health sector to address it effectively. So coming back to what there are simple solutions to the complex problems, and one simple solution is transfer technology in simple and relevant terms so that a lot can happen at a family level. So that is what I have been actively involved. When we looked at children with say special needs and also NGOs who are running the special schools, everyone was worried because they need to go through a lot of acquisition, repetition, consolidation, even to remember whatever they learn. Unless that process is repeated, it is almost like schools were worried they have to start from square one. Parents were worried about if we are starting from square one, what we are going to do. So when we started WhatsApp groups and Facebook pages and helped them to understand some basics, giving them training on using whatever media was available, like we had Skype, we had WhatsApp, we had Facebook. We just started sharing technology. With educated group, it worked very well. But with those in rural areas, with no education, it is not easy. So it doesn't happen overnight. So that is where we had a lot of phone call support that was given to the rural parents to understand the basic things about how to help the child at home. Of course, parents said there are so many household chores because of lockdown. There was no support system. They had to clean, they have to cook, they have to wash, and on top of it, they were asking me, "Madam, you want us to also to become teachers at home?" So there's no time. Which made us to look at, why not use the father? Why not use the siblings? Why not use the grandparents? So it is very interesting. Like, though I was focusing a lot on mothers in Indian context through my work for the last 30 years, for the first time I saw active participation of fathers, active participation of grandparents, active participation of siblings. This is something which was is a learning. I feel the inclusive development really happens when we really take all this into account. So I would focus on three things. The preparedness, like there are so many apps available all over the world. People like us, like me or Anupam, we are well aware of the apps that are available for children with autism, children with learning disabilities, mental retardation. But it is not, we were not ready to bring all that and to reach it to children. And there is Swayam platform, though we have some programs, but we did not think about using Swayam effectively during the COVID lockdown. There are MOOC platforms. There are so many learning apps, but somehow lack of preparedness and not including such health-related disasters under disaster management is one of the policy issues which we have to think seriously. The preparedness, I feel, because those children who went to National Open School, they had no problems. They were prepared. And children who went where they have receiving home-based support, they didn't have problems. But children who went to institutions, who went to schools, they had problems. There was dependency on others. So regarding children in institutions, I feel it is, we know very little about what is happening to them. And the social distancing causes a lot of problems because children need a lot of physical support, and it is almost impossible to maintain the social distancing. And a lack of help to people who are in wheelchairs, all that is causing huge problems for parents. So I would put it, all that it was required is, we have technology, we have now everything available, but the preparedness could have helped us to better lockdown in a very effective way. But we did best using whatever was available, like WhatsApp, Facebook, and say Skype platforms to communicate to parents. So with a lot of dissemination of information has gone, but the challenge is about the rural parents. Thank you.
Gee, thank you, Dr. Rao. Now, I do want to go to Dr. Ahuja on education, but before I do that, I do want to ask Dr. Singh. Let's talk a little bit. I think Dr. Rao raised a very valid point that the problem is, I wouldn't even say problem, but the challenge is vastly in rural areas where parents have no idea at times what to do. Now, the question that I do have for you is, what is the government's role specifically in protecting the rights of children? I'm sure our audience wants to know, because I think even people in cities have no clue.
Well, you are right. So I think in one way we are all the government. See, the government is not some person, because what is happening is that whether it is the government or whether it is our parents of such children, I find them engaged with only one thing. Every day they read the number of children, the number of people who have died, and the number of people who have got infected. And the whole day they are with it. So I think that the first thing which we should do is tell the parents that, please, this time will not come. So as a role, we should be engaging more, and as Madam Dr. Indumati Rao said, that the fathers should get involved, and I would also go one step forward, that fathers can also cook. There is no harm. But what I'm trying to say is that the telling stories to the children is a huge thing which can be done, and there can be several ways which can be designed. So you just saw that behind Sir Dr. Shekhar Seshadri, he has kept all this. So the same thing can be done by the parents. You don't need all this. So whatever your child is doing, Please focus that. You don't require fanciful things. You don't require a TV screen. You don't require a smartphone. Disengage yourself. Disengage yourself with the thought, what will happen to me tomorrow? I'm finding even doctors are getting engaged into that, and hence the children are feeling more neglected than ever because children are not understanding. So my thing is that please engage to creative, whatever the child is doing, even if he's disabled, even if he has a problem. The word disabled is wrong. I withdraw that word. I think Divyang. So even if there's one with a Divyang, please, whatever they can do, address. And one of the best known things is to tell stories. Stories can be told in a very, very way. The mother can dress herself up, can create a situation, and whatever creativity is doing. The second thing I would love is that I think we are missing nature. So if you have some plants in your house, make the child give water to those plants. Allow him to see that plant growing. Perhaps in our busy schedule, we all hope of some medicine, some drug as doing a magic for this child. But much more magic could be done by the surroundings which could be made, and a story, a relationship built. Through that relationship, you can slowly. So nutrition to the body and nutrition to the mind, both needs to be taken care simultaneously. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity. We have forgotten to sing to a child. We have forgotten to show the rains. We have forgotten to show them the clouds. This is a wonderful opportunity to relate them to nature so that they feel that they are not neglected. As far as government is considered, I think two things very important. All of us will have to talk to the people. Please try to see. Now, among the Divyang, there is a group which are marginalized because of economic reason. So there is a social poverty also, apart from the economic poverty. Now, such people, they are really on the losing end. You can find a laborer carrying a child on this and walking. So such children is the duty of the government and every person. How can we use the Anganwadi actively without trying? Because see, by all doing this lockdown, we are not able to eradicate COVID-2. Let not have this kind of an understanding. What we are trying to do is to prevent the speed of the spread of infection. So it is going to take time. It is not a one-day affair. So I think they should focus on these, and the government should come out with the midday meals, with foods, how that security should be done. I think there's a wonderful thing if we can make homemade toys. Even government can try to give this activity, and these toys should be made available to these children who are locked down in their house. At least they can play, they can see, they can watch, they can listen. And I would think India is a country with wonderful homemade toys, which we can, now is the time to bring them up. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. That was beautifully put. I think nutrition to the mind and the body is very important. Now I want to take it to Dr. Ahuja. In this time also, it's been a very long lockdown. In that sense, we've had a couple of extensions. We don't know how long it's going to go for. We don't know what the new normal will be after. What are some ways? Can you please describe some ways of perhaps, in addition to engaging with these children, what are some ways that these children can learn and continue their education?
Thank you. I think the best way that children with special needs and other children can learn is by care and love. And these lockdowns give you an opportunity to know your child, to know his or her strengths. Above all, it's important to know them as children. And this opportunity of lockdown gives you that time, gives each family member, the time to know the child. I think somewhere all along, we forget who the child is, what are his strengths, what are his weaknesses is what we always focus on. And especially a child with special needs. He or she is not like other children. He or she is different, but it's the difference that's always focused on. And I think the lockdown gives an opportunity to a grandfather, a grandmother, as Dr. Singh just said, to take the child in his or her lap and narrate a story, sing a lullaby, talk to the child, have short sessions with them. Usually the brother really doesn't know what the child with special needs is like, because he's running in one direction. And this child with special needs is in the only care of a parent, most often the mother. And it's the mother who knows everything about the child. So I think this lockdown period and the time that has to come exposes the child and the child's vulnerability and the strengths to everyone. It increases the bonding amongst family members above all. We come to open, issues which were never talked about, because we were always, either involved in filling the pot and seeing that there is some food kept on the table or, served to the family. We are running. So this is the time to sit back and reflect. And I think a child with special needs needs that hand holding the whole day. He or she needs that care. He or she needs that pat on the back, the clap. We never clap for them. I think this gives an opportunity for parents to clap for their children's performances. Whatever little they do, learning happens only when we get a positive reinforcement. Priyanka, you and I, if we don't get a nod from our boss for 10 days, we don't like to go to office the 11th day. But we forget that a child with special needs never gets that nod. You never get that clap. And I think what Professor Singh said, Dr. Singh said, that we need to make the child close to nature. I think this is an excellent opportunity to be with children, to love them, to give them a bath, and then to dry them. And not just the mother. Everyone says, this is a coarse cloth, this is a light cloth. This is how it feels when there's a gunny bag on your palm. And this is what it feels like when you have a soft silk cloth on your palm. These are things that come with time. These are things this is what a lemon smells like. We always talk about the taste of lemon. We don't know, usually children will not know what a lemon smells like, what an apple smells like, what a raw banana smells like, and what a paka hua banana is like. ये चीजें हम बच्चों के साथ नहीं है समय, नहीं है जरूरत इसकी, लेकिन अगर पढ़ाई लिखाई के साथ ये चीजें करेंगे तो पढ़ाई लिखाई अपने आप हो जाएगी। एनसीईआरटी ने बहुत परिश्रम किया इस दौरान कि हम बच्चों के साथ एक बॉन्डिंग करें टीचर। Technology is one thing, but I think the human bond, the love and care bond that we need as caretakers, as teachers, as parents, this is the time to nurture it and to make the child feel that she and he is my own, and we care and love each other. That's how education will grow and blossom in our country. And there's always a positive to every calamity or whatever comes our way. I always want all of us, जितने भी हम लोग यहाँ हैं, जुड़ के ये सोचे ग्लास में आधा पानी भरा हुआ है, खाली बहुत कम है. And if you do keep that in mind, don't look at it as a lockdown. Look at it as a godsend time to be with your child and give quality time and quality experiences that were never given before.
Thank you, Dr. Ahuja. That was very well put. Let's take that one step further. And I'd like to ask this question to Dr. Seshadri. What about the children, differently able children, I would say, of those who are emergency service workers in the country? So those doctors, those policemen who don't have access to their children, who have to maintain social distancing from their children, even at home, and who perhaps are not able to or are finding it very challenging to provide the support that these children need just because of the rules that they have to follow, the social distancing rules and the norms that we have to follow now. What is your take on that, and what recommendations, how can these parents or how can these caretakers adjust to the times?
देखिए, ये जटिल प्रश्न है। प्रश्न ये है कि जो सीमावर्ती कार्यकर्ता जो है, हमारे पुलिस फौज वाले और स्वास्थ्य क्षेत्र में जो भी सीमावर्ती कार्यकर्ता है, और सोशल सेक्टर में भी हमारे चाइल्ड लाइन के कार्यकर्ता है, और इनकी व्यक्तिगत वास्तविकताएं जो है, their families, so all these frontline workers and their families, and are there any of these frontline workers who themselves have special needs children, and how is the balance maintained? So that's the context of the question that Priyanka is asking. Let me try to bead the reality of this question to the points that Dr. Singh, Dr. Ahuja, and Dr. Rao have already raised. Dr. Rao raised the issue of टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर इन मटेरियल्स। तो डॉक्टर राव ने जिक्र किया था कि दिव्यांग बच्चों के साथ काम करने के तौर तरीके जो है, दक्षता के तौर तरीके जो है, उसको किस तरह से हम समुदाय में, कम्युनिटी में स्प्रेड कर सकते हैं। डॉक्टर आहूजा और डॉक्टर सिंह टुगेदर रेफर टू very many creative, innovative, and evocative uses of this unusual time, and how do we beat this to the reality that Priyanka is referring to, that frontline workers and their. Let's also see this in the context of who the children are. Are we talking about a special needs child who has intellectual disability? Are we talking about a special needs child who has autism? Are we talking about a special needs child who has multiple disability? तो किस बच्चे की बात कर रहे हैं, किस दिव्यांग बच्चे की बात कर रहे हैं? केवल बुद्धिमंदता है लेकिन हाथ पैर फर्स्ट क्लास है, दृष्टिहीन है, या ऑटिज्म से पीड़ित है, या उसको मिश्रण है इन समस्याओं की। और इसके साथ साथ does the child have challenging behaviors, because that's an additional burden on the caretaker or the parent who is at home, and therefore whose caretaking burden there. So whenever we speak about special needs, we always look at family stress and family burden and coping styles in families. And if the caregiving is compromised because one parent is a frontline staff, then the burden of caretaking comes on the parent who is present, जो उपस्थित माता है, पिता है, या उपस्थित अभिभावक है, तो परवरिश की बोझ जो है वो उस पे आ जाती है। So it's a question of how families actually work out a routine by which whatever little time the frontline worker has, सीमावर्ती कार्यकर्ता पिता जो है या माता जो है, जितना भी समय है उसके पास, वो सीमित भी हो। Coming back to the point that Dr. Ahuja made and Dr. A.K. Singh made, the point that they are making is the use of time optimally to create opportunities for stimulation of all aspects of child development for the individual child is concerned. And both of them have referred to the philosophy of Rudolf Steiner, which they didn't mention Steiner, but the evocativeness of what they said reminds me of Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf Steiner was an Austrian psychoanalyst who founded something called anthroposophy. Now, anthroposophy is that branch of philosophy that deals with the optimization of human potential. So, anthroposophic practice, they work a lot with nature. They work a lot with materials. Therefore, to come back to the point that Dr. Arun Singh made on plants, it's about when that hardworking frontline policeman comes back home and with his special needs child, अपने दिव्यांग बच्चे के साथ एक छोटा सा गमला ले, take a small pot with sand or mud, just put a couple of seeds of mustard or coriander, सरसों या धनिया के कुछ बीज डाले, और हर रोज रात को जब पिता आते हैं उसमें थोड़ा थोड़ा संग मिलके पानी डाले, और जब तीसरे दिन चौथे दिन उससे जब पौधा निकलता है, it's pretty much similar to the point that Dr. Ahuja made. And the point that Dr. Singh made about toys. See, for a child, even a discarded toffee wrapper is a toy, because it has texture, it has sound, and it has flight. You know, when you throw it in the wind, it takes flight. So how do you घर पे ही जितनी भी छोटी मोटी चीजें हैं, डब्बे में चावल या दाल के 15-20 दाने डाले, उसको हिलाया, it's a toy, you're getting auditory stimulation. और आटा जब गूंथ रहे हैं, आटा उनसे गुथवाना है या उस to roll it into shapes. This is tactile stimulation. Similarly, to help the mother roll it out. This is also motor stimulation. So this is the kind of stuff that even frontline workers who have frustrations can essentially deal with, the kind of impact that isolation and mobility constraint can have on the stimulation of a child. And therefore, during the time of the COVID and the lockdown, इस वास्तविकता के दौरान अगर दिव्यांग बच्चे बाहर नहीं जा सकते हैं और दुनिया को नहीं देख सकते हैं, तो दुनिया को घर के अंदर लाइए. If this child cannot go out to the world, bring the world in to the home. Even if your home is 10 feet by 10 feet, you can still bring the world home. Finally, a point that I would like to make, if I hope my screen share will work very quickly. Right, there you are. Okay, I see that this flip chart is okay. I won't waste much of time. Yeah, there you are. I'm sorry, Priyanka. I'm not familiar with StreamYard.
I think there's we'll share the screen share a little later. But why don't you make the last point that you were going to make? If you can do it without the.
Sure. So the point I made is a repetition of what I said earlier. कि दिव्यांग स्थिति किसी भी वजह से हो, whether ये मंदता हो या ऑटिज्म हो या उसका कॉम्बिनेशन हो या लोकोमोटर हो या क्लब फुट हो, 5 जो विकास के क्षेत्र जो है, दैहिक विकास मोटर डेवलपमेंट, भाषा का विकास लैंग्वेज, सामाजिक विकास सोशल डेवलपमेंट, बौद्धिक विकास कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट एंड भावनात्मक या भावनाओं का विकास इमोशनल डेवलपमेंट. ये इन 5 क्षेत्रों में what are the kind of targets, हमारे लक्ष्य क्या है इस बच्चे के लिए, and what are the simple ways of home-based training and stimulation using whatever modest resources we have at home to continue with the stimulation and training of this child so that the lockdown does not impact the trajectory of their developmental processes. That's the point I wanted to make. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you so much. Now, Dr. Singh, that slides me. Thank you for making those points, Dr. Seshadri, because that slides me into my next question, which is actually an audience question. I wanted to ask about children with autism. I think Dr. Seshadri made a very brief mention of an autistic child, but this is a question from an audience member. And thank you so much for sending in your questions. If you're watching this live, please be sure to send in your questions. We'd be happy to answer them. Even if we don't get to them, I'm sure our experts would like to at least take a look at the questions after. But here's this one question. I think it's very important. This is a mother who has asked, my son is 16 years old with autism, and though his day is filled with online classes, leisure activities, and home chores, going for a walk, he is at the end of the day a teenager. He's a 16-year-old, which sometimes requires the need for space. Now, I know Dr. Seshadri said even if your home is 10 feet by 10 feet, but now if a teenager wants space, even if he is not or she is not differently abled, every teenager needs some space at times, and every young adult needs some space at times. So this mother is asking, he normally when he does need space, he goes to a center and he hangs out with his friends a little bit away from home. But of course, that is not possible now. What are some things that can be done?
Well, let me quickly respond to that, and I'm sure Indumati and others would also have stuff to contribute. See, space is both a real physical construct, but it is also an abstract ecological construct. Space जो है, ये एक ठोस चीज भी है, लेकिन ये एक धारणा भी है. Therefore, even if I have mobility constraint, now if you look at children with autism, with this whole thing of distancy of mobility constraint, and the fact that the exit from the lockdown is going to be staggered, इसका एक क्रम होगा कि बाहर जाने के लिए और हम कितनी दूर जा सकते हैं। और प्रियंका के पास ये प्रश्न जो आया, ये 16 साल के युवक की माता ने पूछा कि आफ्टर ऑल है ये किशोर, ये युवक है, टीनेजर है, और हर टीनेजर को एक तरह की स्पेस चाहिए। तो 3 चीजें हैं। एक तो ये कि एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, whether this is a 16-year-old who is neurotypical or a 16-year-old who has autism or a 6-year-old, there is still some conversation. हम चर्चा और वार्तालाप कर सकते हैं कि जो भी हम पे पाबंदी है ये जीवन भर के लिए नहीं है. It's not a lifelong lockdown. It is for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and it is slowly lifting. And if we support each other, so we must believe when we interact with teenagers that they are capable of reason. Our approach with them should not be based on some assumption that they are unreasonable. कि उनमें वाद विवाद, चर्चा, वार्तालाप करने की क्षमता है, और हम आदेश उपदेश नहीं दें, लेकिन वार्तालाप के द्वारा परिस्थिति को समझाएं, तब भी शायद वो मना करेगा. बट मोर और लेस एक तो ये बात है that you must have a culture of conversation. Now this is the problem. चाहे वो दिव्यांग बच्चे हों या नॉर्मल बच्चे हों, अभिभावक और बड़ों का रिश्ता बच्चों के साथ जो है, उस रिश्ते का आधार और उसकी संस्कृति जो है, वो तो आदेश उपदेश और अपेक्षा पे है. Our relationship with our children is based on a culture of instruction, expectation and obedience, not on a culture of conversations. वार्तालाप की संस्कृति तो है ही नहीं ना, तो ये अवसर आया वार्तालाप की संस्कृति बनाए. The second issue is space is physical, but it's also an abstract ecology. Therefore, I can close my eyes and I can fly. I can travel to wherever I want. So the notion of space can also be done now through simple exercises of mindfulness and of imagery as some things, even for a 16-year-old with autism, to say, let's imagine or let's draw spaces and then travel into those spaces, or create mobile phone पे film बनाते हैं, about narratives of spaces that you travel to, and this way you overcome the frustration. तो जो भी frustration होता है कि घर पे ब्लॉक करके रखे और बाहर नहीं जाने देते, कब तक ऐसा चलेगा, that you bring in these kind of evocative methods. इस तरह से रचनात्मक, सृजनशील और काल्पनिक तरीके जो हैं, इससे एक तरह से इस परिस्थिति को आप संभाल सकते हैं. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you. And I also want to hear, because I know Dr. Singh is also a pediatrician. So I want to also throw the same question to you, Dr. Singh, that what are, in addition to some of the methods that Dr. Seshadri went over, now if you have very upset, very stressed out, very anxious young adults, as it is, young adults have all those feelings very regularly because of normal growth. But what about differently able children? What are some tactics that parents can perhaps use to reduce that stress, in addition to sort of the evocative methodologies that Dr. Seshadri was talking about?
प्रियंका जी, आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा है. एक्चुअली अगर जो बात समझने की बात है पेरेंट्स को भी और धीरे धीरे उन बच्चों को भी, कि एवरी डिकेड we have changed the space dimension. हम जब बच्चे थे तो 8 बजे के बाद टीवी नहीं चलता था, अब सारी रात चलता है, तो स्पेस वहां हो गया. हम जब छोटे थे तो मॉल्स नहीं थे, अब वो मॉल्स. तो मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि the reverse can be true also. Maybe there are dimensions which the family, which the child has never explored. आज आप हिमालय कई जगह से देख सकते हैं. लोगों ने कहा पिछले 30 सालों में कभी हमने हिमालय देखा ही नहीं था उस जगह से. तो ये जो स्पेस की बात है, बात जो डॉक्टर शेषाद्री कह रहे हैं, सर कह रहे हैं, आप समझने की कोशिश कीजिए. उसने एक ढंग से अपना कम्युनिकेशन बनाया है. मैं अपने दोस्त के साथ जाऊंगा, बाहर कुछ खाऊंगा, सिनेमा देखूंगा, ये मेरा एक तरीका है जिसको आजकल की भाषा में कहते हैं टू चिल आउट. लेकिन अगर उसको मैं एक दूसरा एक जो उसने एक्सप्लोर नहीं किया है, मैं कल आपको बता रहा हूं, आई एम वर्किंग इन कोविड वार्ड, तो बड़ा डिप्रेसिंग सीन होता है, क्योंकि जो डॉक्टर भी जाते हैं वो मास्क वास्क लगा के जाते हैं। अब एक बच्ची थी, उसकी माँ को पॉजिटिविटी नहीं थी, बच्ची को थी। माँ ने कहा कि नहीं, मैं बच्ची के साथ रहूंगी। अब बच्ची जिद कर रही है। अब आप सोच के देखिए, एक छोटा सा कमरा है जिसमें माँ और बच्ची है और कोई भी उसमें नहीं आ रहा है। तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि उस माँ ने बच्ची को अलग अलग कहानियां शुरू में तो बच्चा नहीं सुना, लेकिन मैं जब नेक्स्ट दिन विजिट पे गया तो देखा कि बच्चा माँ से पूछ रहा है इसके बाद क्या हुआ, और उसकी आंखों की चमक बिल्कुल अलग थी। नाउ ही इज इमेजिनेटिव वर्ल्ड, जैसे लगता है कि, और वो कहानी थी कि हम नाव पे निकल गए हैं, चलो हम कौन कौन सी जगह जाएंगे। तो मेरा ये ख्याल है कि शायद हम लोगों ने जो स्पेस का मतलब जो निकाला है वो एक डिकेड के लिए एक ढंग का निकल गया है कि भाई म्यूजिक सुनेंगे, ये सुनेंगे, तो ठीक है, वो भी सही है, मैं उसके खिलाफ नहीं हूं, लेकिन मैं कह रहा हूं कि ऑल्टरनेटिव्स भी खुल सकते हैं। और वो ऑल्टरनेटिव्स, अब आप बताइए कि कब लास्ट आपने तारों को देखा था, और तारों के कॉन्स्टलेशन को किस स्कूल में मुझे पढ़ाया गया कि ये देखो ये कॉन्स्टलेशन जो स्टार्स का है, एंड दैट इज साइंस, दैट इज नॉट दैट इज एस्ट्रोनॉमी एंड नॉट एस्ट्रोलॉजी, कॉन्स्टलेशन ऑफ स्टार्स। तो दो बातें थी, पहले तो तारे दिखते नहीं है शहर से, इतना पोल्यूशन होता है, और दिखते भी है तो हम उनसे पहचानते नहीं। अब सोचिए कि वो तारे तो मॉल्स में नहीं नजर आएंगे, सिनेमा में भी नहीं नजर आए, अगर उनसे हम कन्वर्सेशन करने लगे तो हो जाएगा। तो मेरा ये ख्याल है कि हम निराश नहीं, हम तरीके खोजें, ब्रेन से बढ़कर कुछ नहीं। और एक चीज मैं जरूर कहना चाहूंगा इसके माध्यम से, मुझे पता नहीं ठीक है कि नहीं है, लेकिन आज मैं कहूंगा कि हिंदुस्तान में जितना पैसा हम धर्म के नाम पे खर्च करते हैं, सबसे बड़ा धर्म है इन बच्चों की जो संस्थाएं हैं, जो रिसर्च करती हैं, जो पढ़ाती हैं, उससे बड़ा कोई परोपकार नहीं हो सकता है। ये वक्त है इंट्रोस्पेक्ट करने का, कल्चर करने का, कि हमारे स्कूल, हमारे अस्पताल, इन बच्चों के लिए जो जगहें हैं, वो जगहों पर हम ज्यादा खर्च करें, उनके बारे में सोचें, सरकार को बताएं, हमारे जो इलेक्टेड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव है उनको बताएं। ये बहुत जरूरी है। शायद कोविड हमें एक नई शिक्षा दे रहा है और उस शिक्षा को हमें लेना चाहिए।
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Actually surprised that this question has come up, but it just goes to show you how real this issue is. And I'd like to point this question towards Dr. Rao. This question is from Gayatri Ji. Thank you so much for sending your question. She's asking rather, some fathers, so let's make it a little gender neutral. So we can say some fathers or some mothers are in denial of special needs in their children and are not or refusing to come up to speed. So she's writing that mothers are overwhelmed, but it can be that fathers also can be overwhelmed if the mother is in denial. So what can be done for this? Or what types of things can be done, especially in a COVID-19 lockdown situation? Dr. Rao. I think your mic is on mute. Is it working? Should we come back to you?
Priyanka, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Priyanka.
Sorry. You guys can hear me now. While we are waiting for Dr. Rao to fix her microphone, I'd like to point this question towards Dr. Ahuja. Now, this is also a question from a parent. that some children are, and I would say most children are now going to classes online. Now this requires a lot of focus, a lot of concentration in many different ways than as you would in a normal classroom. Now, when we are looking at differently abled children, it requires another, I would say, increased focus and increased concentration. Are there any tactics that parents and caregivers can integrate in order to improve concentration and focus? Dr. Rao, we'll come back to you. Let me let Dr. Ahuja address this question. We'll come right back to you after.
Sure.
I think the parent who has asked this question is really referring to many other parents as well. So firstly, thank you for this very important question. And, we educationists, when we wear different hats, nowadays we're wearing a hat where we're converting everything online. One of the things that we need very cautiously to be done by parents is that children with special needs, when they are interacting with material, the parent must be by the child, because it's a new thing for a child. First and foremost, the child will not take to it automatically. However well we may have toiled and made it, it will require supervision and hand-holding by a parent to work with the child. And it needs to be done in a step-by-step manner. Yeah. Parents must remember that the child may reject it. That's all right. Need not, that heavens are not going to fall if a child does not like the material that's there online and does not want to engage in it. So it's important that parents realize that we need to respect the child. Just because we are in COVID and just because we are educationists, we don't want to prepare to, put the material through the child in any way possible. No, that is never an intention. Parents must remember that online material must be enjoyed by a child. If a child is a happy learner, the child will learn. If the child is a forced learner, he or she will respect you, sit by you, but may not learn. So first and foremost, what's important for parents to realize is to move in an incremental manner, move at the pace that the child wants you to move. It should be done gradually. Nothing should be forced. I repeat that again in capitals. Do not force the material. Try to give alternatives to the child. Let it be spaced in a way that the child can engage with something that he's comfortable with and come back to this material if he is finding it new and different. Let the child talk about this material first, and let the parent talk to the child about this material before actually going through the material. That helps a child with special needs. Let the child with special needs have an imaginative peer by him or an imaginative friend by him, and the parents should give the opportunities to the child to explain to that would-be friend or that imaginative friend what this material is about. Then as a parent, you can assess whether the child is engaged in this material, wants to go through it or not. Above all, provide a summary of this material to the child. Let the child understand what it's all about and why it is prepared in this way. Again, because it is COVID and because he or she cannot go to school and because technology is available, a child should not be asked to use it. So let's remember, a child needs to we need to rationalize the existence of this material with the child, accept it, enjoy it, and move in an incremental manner. These few steps are important. Rome was not built in a day. So any material that comes to you can be introduced slowly and steadily, and gradually we build that momentum where the child learns with that material. It's always important to remember that every experience that a child has, whether it is with print material or it's with online material, should result in learning based on where the child is. If I know alphabets, only then will I attempt to make a word. If I don't know alphabets, I cannot jump into writing a sentence. So you have to ensure that it's according to the stage, level, and interest of the child.
Thank you, Dr. Ahuja. And Dr. Rao, I think your sound is working now. Let me just repeat the question because it is a very important question. And I do also want to ask the chairperson right after this. But let me ask this question. This is an audience question. And it's very important because it just goes to show how prevalent the issues are of differently able children in India and across India. Gayatri ji, thank you so much for sending this question because I do feel it's important. She has said that some fathers are in denial, and like I said before, let's keep it gender neutral. So perhaps some caretakers are in denial of special needs in their children and are not coming up to speed or are refusing to come up to speed. So that means that the other caretaker who's involved or the other caretakers that are involved get very overwhelmed with how to take care of this child, especially during a pandemic. What is your take on this issue, Dr. Rao?
Yeah. I would first thank the mother for raising this question because this is the question which would be there in the minds of many mothers, not just one. I would say a large number, and I would not really restrict this either based on gender or country because this pattern we see all over the world. The denial, has many reasons why there is a denial. And when we are looking at the stress that is created for the caregiver when it becomes primarily a single person, that is a mother, so it has a lot of say ramifications on several aspects of the development of the child. So how do we really deal with it? Okay, there are no simple solutions to this problem. Okay, so the denial has to be addressed with very good counseling and support. And this denial, if it continues, it is going to affect the child and development, and it is also going to affect the health of the mother because caregiver stress is discussed all over the world, which is a global problem. We should not take it lightly. So we really need to look at it very seriously. So when familiarity also breeds contempt. What I get from parents is because they live under one roof, so there is a lot of conflict that is taking place within home. So how do they really deal with it? These are all critical issues, which is it is not a very rosy picture to say that everything is nice within the four walls. There is a lot that is happening, the dynamics. So we really need to look into these issues because it is all coming to surface because of lockdown. Otherwise, people were so busy, so there was no time to fight. I'll put it in a very simple way. Now we have ample time. Okay, and some parents, they say that children, they say we are tired of seeing you. So what parents should do? There is no space for them to go and hide. So there are multiple issues. So it is not very simple. That is why I go back to the issue of a house is like a university. For me, I would look at not disability. I would look at as children. Okay, whatever children need to learn, everything is available in an Indian kitchen. Okay, so everything is there. So actively engaging them in all activities of home, whether it's washing, sweeping, mopping, cleaning, cooking, all that is going to be, it is enriching learning that takes place. So there is really no need because there is, I was remembering one of the books from my, one of the great psychologists. He says, we are parents, we are not teachers. Stop. So we don't want to be teachers because it's an additional burden on the parent if we keep on repeatedly asking them to do this, do that. So it is because they're already tired, cooking, cleaning, all that. So on top of it, they can't get converted into teachers. So all that we are saying is, in a natural environment, engage everyone and having a routine. That is very important during the lockdown. A routine is very important. That comes only from discipline. That discipline has to be built into even parents need to be disciplined. Okay, I would not take it for granted unless people are trained to be disciplined. So there is no routine in the family. There is no waking up time. There is no eating time. There is no time for cleaning. There is no time for doing their own things. So what happens is in such a chaotic home environment, children with special needs are totally lost. So I would really go for using the house as a university. Okay, I mean, we have a lot of examples, we give like how to give the grading, pairing, discrimination, consolidation activities, building up the cognitive structure using all that we have in an Indian kitchen in a poor kitchen. I am not looking at the 5-star houses. Very simple kitchen. There is everything available, and it is not a big issue. But attitude, like you said, gender. But it is not just politically. You mentioned we have to make it gender neutral. It is a fact that there are many mothers who also reject children. It is a fact. So it is human. So let us not put it into male or female. It is human, and that rejection comes because of their own failure. Okay, so this we have to really, it is a call for support. They need support. So they need support to accept the child, because they are in a mourning period for losing a child which is their dream baby. Every mother dreams when she's carrying the child in the womb, and no mother dreams of having a child with cerebral palsy. Okay, it is a shock for them. So same thing with father. So they have to go through that mourning period, coming into terms, and they always find go to a phase, what I can do now. Sometimes they search for a miracle cure, going to a temple or to a church. So that is, I also say that we should not be very critical about parents. So it is okay if they go do it. I said, don't spend money, don't do anything which would harm you or harm the child. But going and doing for meditation and seeking the blessings of someone, it is perfectly all right. I think we should be more human in our approach when we work with parents with children with special needs. Because a mother who has a child with disability, I am quoting Janet Carr, who is a very famous psychologist who had a child with a very profound mental retardation. She says a mother experiences the pain and agony what one would experience if there are 1,000 deaths in the family. So that is the kind of pain they are going through. So I think we have to be very sympathetic and very, I would say, empathy, not sympathy, empathy, and understand and support them. But I feel it is not that big deal. Only I would still highlight my point, lack of preparedness. I'm not blaming the government or say NGOs like us, because we have to treat such pandemics like we treat like tsunami. Okay, if there's an earthquake, what happened in Gujarat, I think the same preparedness, it should be applicable to pandemics also. Pandemic, we cannot separate them. So that preparedness is very important, and I'm sure government of India is already thinking on those lines. So we are going to manage it in a better way. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Rao. And let's, I would like to ask a very important question to Chairperson Kunungu. Now, Chairperson and I actually met. He was doing some fantastic work in the Northeast. And I believe he was conducting a child bench on the protection of children's rights over there. Very significant, very powerful, very impactful work that's much needed. So that's where I met you. And I would like to ask on behalf of a few questions that have come in. I think several parents have asked this. But I think a lot of people just don't know what are the rights of children with special needs in India right now. And what, especially, we were talking a little bit about education. So what is the provision of education that they have?
देखिए, राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट में जो दिव्यांग बच्चे हैं उनकी एजुकेशन के लिए पूरी तरीके से प्रोविजन किए गए हैं. जिन बच्चों को स्पेशल एजुकेशन की, स्पेशल एजुकेटर की एक्चुअली आवश्यकता है, तो ये सरकार की जिम्मेदारी होती है. और स्पेशल एजुकेटर्स की सुविधा, अगर उनको होम बेस्ड लर्निंग की जरूरत है तो वो सरकार पहुंचाती है 6 से 14 साल के हर बच्चे को, अगर वो स्कूल आने में अक्षम हो. इसी प्रकार स्कूल का वातावरण एक्सेसिबल बनाना, ये भी सरकार की जिम्मेदारी होती है. अगर कोई फिजिकल लोकोमोटिव प्रॉब्लम किसी बच्चे को है तो इसके बड़े छोटे छोटे से तरीके भी हैं. जैसे अगर स्कूल 2 मंजिलों में है, फर्स्ट फ्लोर है, सेकंड ग्राउंड फ्लोर है, और किसी क्लास में अगर कोई डिसेबल्ड बच्चे हैं तो उनको ये बहुत ही आसान होता है कि वो क्लास जिसमें ऐसे बच्चे हैं उसको ग्राउंड फ्लोर पे लगा लीजिए. तो ऐसे कई सारे छोटे छोटे बड़े बड़े तरीके भी हैं जिनके थ्रू ये कोशिश की जाती है कि पढ़ाई जो है वो बच्चों की व्याधित ना हो और 6 से 14 साल के हर बच्चे को एजुकेशन मिले. और इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन में जो भी डिसेबिलिटी शामिल हैं उनको इंक्लूसिव एटमॉस्फेयर में पढ़ाया जा सके। केवल फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इंक्लूसिव होने से काम नहीं चलेगा, टीचर्स के और साथ के विद्यार्थियों के मेंटल स्पेस में भी एक इंक्लूसिवनेस आनी चाहिए। उस तरफ भी कानून का और सारी अथॉरिटीज का ध्यान होता है। जो दूसरी बात इससे ही जुड़ी हुई है वो ये है कि एजुकेशन के साथ साथ इन बच्चों को के अनेक सारे राइट्स हैं। जैसे डॉक्टर सिंह यहाँ पे हैं, राष्ट्रीय बाल स्वास्थ्य कार्यक्रम जो RBS के है वो मैपिंग सभी बच्चों की देश भर में करता है। बच्चों की डिसेबिलिटी सर्टिफिकेट्स बनना, बच्चों को सर्टिफिकेट्स के अकॉर्डिंग फिर उनको पेंशन मिलना। एक बात जो हम लोगों ने बच्चों को, खासतौर पे डॉक्टर राव की बात से मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ कि रूरल एरियाज में एक बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। और एक और चीज जो हम लोगों को देखने में आई कि जब बच्चे, बिल्कुल ठीक बात है कि बच्चा डिसेबल्ड पैदा होगा ऐसी कल्पना माता पिता नहीं करते और ये उनके लिए शॉकिंग होता है। और कई बार परिवारों में ऐसा माहौल बन जाता है कि ये नॉन प्रोडक्टिव है और इनका कोई भविष्य नहीं है। ऐसे समय में उनके सर्टिफिकेट्स जो डिसेबल्ड होने के कारण उनको मिलने चाहिए वो मिले। उनको एजुकेशन के साथ आगे जाके उनको पेंशन्स या वो सारे फायदे जो सरकार दे सकती है जिससे वो किसी पर बोझ ना रहे और परिवार के अंदर भी उनको लेकर के एक स्वावलंबन का भाव आए कि ये बच्चे आगे चल के बोझ नहीं रहने वाले। तब ऐसे बच्चों की केयर होना परिवारों के अंदर भी कुछ हद तक आसान हो जाता है। ये हम लोगों का अनुभव रहा है।
Thank you very much for that. Dr. Ahuja and Dr. Singh, I think last question, but equally important. Now, at the grassroots level, there is a question that has come in. I believe this is from a teacher at the grassroots level. So thank you so much for sending this question. Almost all of our students are from rural pockets, and we are now finding it difficult in conducting online classes as we are not sure how many of them are digital. So now I think that this is a very, perhaps we can start with Dr. Singh, then go to Dr. Ahuja. What can be done in this situation? This is a very real situation, I feel, across India.
Yeah, I think you are very right. And first of all, not everyone can afford to have these digital components. Electricity may be a problem. Then thirdly, even if you would like to buy, you may not be able to procure one. So having said so, I think that for rural areas, we will have to innovate something very different. And I have found in the world, people have tried as outdoor classrooms with sufficient distances and trying to teach in small groups rather than big groups. Something has to be done. We cannot depend on only one method of teaching, which definitely is not going to get solved immediately.
Dr. Ahuja.
Yes, I totally agree with what Dr. Singh has said. We need to innovate, find solutions in such contexts. I would also say that those children who do have access to a smartphone and are able to use online, we can also give opportunities for them to share with the other children, keeping social distancing in mind, what they saw. This is another way where we can ensure that a child talks to another child, communicates. Because what COVID-19 situations are also doing, both in rural and urban areas, is not only is it, distancing, it's distancing in the minds as well. Children are not talking to each other so much. Children are not emotionally connected with each other so much. So we could, as one of the alternatives, as Dr. Singh said, we need to explore. One of the alternatives could also be those who have access to online, share with their other peer what they saw, what they learned, how it was. Was it really, a child who doesn't have a smartphone will look at the one who has access to online as if tere paas to sare jalebi tere ko sab mil gayi, mujhe nahi mili. So sometimes this is also the deprivation amongst children that also sets in. You are the one who has it, I don't. So maybe this is another way where we can create a sort of, having a smartphone is not the end of the world, and having access to online doesn't mean you have the best source of learning. There are other ways also, and if the lesser this I would say the online trend moves, the more creative a teacher will become, because a teacher will then find different ways and contextual ways using what the children like, in their surroundings, and try to teach. That would be also very interesting to think together, to plan together, to execute it, and then to make a change. Everything you plan and make may not also work. So you may need to keep changing and innovating. So I think it will add to the teaching process, because you will be wearing different hats all the time, and you may be seeking support from others to find different ways of communicating to children as well. You may, for example, go to your neighbor and say, oh, you are in the nursing profession, but this is what I want to get across to my children. How would you do it if you were in my place? So, things that we as educationists have been telling, that let's discuss education in the open, let's find ways to address issues. That may be also an outcome of COVID. We may be able to engage the community in finding answers where online facility is not available. And that is going to be real homegrown ways. That's something that will stay with them, and that's something that will grow with them. We always want to see newness in what we do and what we want to achieve through education. So this may be a forced way in which we explore newness.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ahuja. Now we have just about 9 minutes left for this session. So I'd like to get probably last thoughts from all of you. So why don't we just go line by line? And what I'd like to ask you is, let's leave it. I think by and large, our audience members have been taking a look at some of the questions. So apologies if I've been looking down at times, but just taking a look to see who's joined in the session. There's quite a few people. A lot of them are, of course, caretakers, parents, as well as teachers. Perhaps some of the children themselves have joined in, maybe even siblings of differently abled children and young adults. Let's kind of leave this on a positive note. Do you have any words of advice or any sort of guidance from your arenas and all the work that you've done for our audience members? Let's start with Dr. Rao.
Yeah, I think the COVID lockdown has become a guru. We have learned so much what we could not have learned without lockdown. So there's so much that we have learned, not only looking at how to reduce the pollution, but we are also learning on how to give more time to the family members, which is something which people would not have done because everyone was so busy with their own work. So it is very important for us to see that this family bonding that we have created, which also makes us to understand what are even the conflicts. Let us resolve whatever little conflicts we have in the family, because if there is no family, there is no life for the child. So for the sake of children, forget about adults. At this point, I'm not so much bothered about the adults. But for the sake of children, it is very important to create a very happy family environment so that the child learns and enjoys. So learning comes second, but living with joy is most important. That is a fundamental right of the child. So that is one suggestion I would give to all parents. And the second one is managing crisis. We have to understand that this has helped us to manage crisis, and we have to make optimum use of whatever is available. If we keep cribbing, there is no school, there's no bus, there's no auto, this endless. But we have to see the positive points and say, spend more time, okay, learn from each other. And if there's no school, there is a small study which says that children are not very happy because there are no schools. About nearly 49% of them, they were very happy because there was COVID break and they could stay at home. These are the realities. Not that children were craving to go to school. They, in fact, they could not understand what happened. But, there were many, say, child talks where they said, oh, no, we don't want Corona to go away. So, don't worry about it. It is talked by children. So it is not that they are missing the school, they are missing learning. It is the parents who are concerned about it. So how to make life joyful? So when they are there, instead of thinking about school and education, so that will happen. Okay, but let us enjoy and make most of it. So this is a kind of a picnic or outing within four walls. So let us make most of it. That is my sincere, and that will reduce your stress, and you will enjoy parenting. So please do that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Rao. Dr. Seshadri, your last words, please, and your last thoughts.
Yeah, very quickly, just to say, among all of you who are seeing this program, Vani Sharma, I have noted all the things that you have said. I don't have the time to address a lot of issues that you've said about not talking at base level and the various struggles that people face. I just want to assure you that the only moment of truth for me is when my child client is sitting in front of me. Everything else is an approximation and an appropriation of the truth. I speak for Dr. Arun Singh, Dr. Ahuja, and Dr. Indumati Rao. We are grassroots people. So somehow, if we have given a message that we are talking at some rarefied 60,000 feet in the air, as you say, I ask you for forgiveness. We are most happy to engage with you to really speak about some of the practical things that all of us engage in. Just two final thoughts. अगर सामान्य दिनचर्या हर आम बच्चे के लिए अनिवार्य है, आवश्यक है, तो दिव्यांग बच्चों के लिए और भी आवश्यक है. If routine is necessary for every child, it's even more necessary for a special needs child. If educational opportunities and stimulation is necessary for an average child, it's even more necessary for a child with special needs. तो 5 इंद्रियों में उत्तेजना की आवश्यकता अगर किसी आम बच्चे के लिए है, तो दिव्यांग बच्चों के लिए और भी ज्यादा है. So this is the reality that the COVID pandemic has placed on us. Just one last thought. How do children make sense of the current changed realities or changed home dynamics and the changed ecology? ये जो हो रहा है इस वक्त, इस समय, इस क्षण हमारे साथ, ये बच्चे जो हैं, इसको कैसे जूझ रहे हैं? What sense are they making of it? And is it not our obligation to assist them in making some sense? And I say this for a particular reason. The children that we are talking about are not just special needs children. ये महज या केवल दिव्यांग बच्चे नहीं. These are individuals. These are citizens. ये नागरिक हैं. ये व्यक्ति हैं. और तो ये अवसर है हमारे लिए एक तरह से जो भी लॉकडाउन के दौरान जो भी हो रहा है, how do we create new memories for them, given whatever limitations many people have spoken about in terms of the struggles in education or the struggle of identification or the base standardization of early assistance, as some people refer to, and we are very cognizant of that. So we can create these kind of memories even for special needs children, because some of them who have mild affectation may still be able to remember that even during the limitations of the lockdown, इस पाबंदी के बावजूद भी किस तरीके से घर में ऐसी चीजें हुई that they carry as a memory that defines the kind of individuals that they may be. Other than the standard, the routine, and the absolutely necessary developmental interventions. So विकास से संबंधित जो भी गतिविधियां हैं और जो भी एक्टिविटीज हैं, उसको तो जारी रखना ही है. So those are some of the thoughts that I wanted to basically share with the utmost and absolute respect for all those who on Facebook who have tabled the realities of their life. And please rest assured that we deeply respect the issues and points that you have raised and are cognizant of that. And our approach was not to in any case trivialize that or speak in any kind of rarefied.
Dr. Seshadri, I want to get everybody in. We just have about 2 minutes here. I think we did do quite a good job addressing all the Facebook questions. I believe that we covered a wide stream of questions, especially at the grassroots level. So if you do have any follow-up questions, please do, as I said before, send them in. I'm sure our experts would like to take a look. Yeah. This is on Facebook live stream as well. So even after the show, they would like to take a look. But thank you so much, Dr. Seshadri. Dr. Ahuja, very quickly, your last thoughts.
Yes, my last thoughts. Love your children, care for them. Remember, one of the things that we can do during this time is to help them learn their reading skills. Reading doesn't come in a day, reading doesn't come in a month. Reading comes with care, love, and slow paced enjoyment. Reading for pleasure. That's something, reading with meaning. This is the time where we can build their reading skills, introduce them to reading. And one of the things that we have passionately done at NCERT, which is available on our website, is a reading series for all. It has 40 very small stories based on children's experiences. We have made them accessible for all. Please go to our website. It's called Barkha. We remember rain always with pleasure. So we gave it the name Barkha, a reading series for all. It has got 40 stories. Please read them. I urge parents to read with their children, to make them enjoy these stories. They are accessible. Children with autism have enjoyed them. These stories help not just introduce reading skills, but build the self-confidence of children. It makes happy children. It makes children look at life in a different perspective. It makes children connect with nature, which Dr. Singh has been reiterating, and so have my other panelists. So I would urge you to please, all the parents, siblings, mothers, and elders, to go and visit NCERT's website, go to Barkha, a reading series for all, get back to us with your observations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ahuja. Dr. Singh. I think, Dr. Singh, your mic is muted. Yep.
Yeah. So I think I would, my last thoughts would be what Khalil Gibran said in his famous lines. Your children are not your children. They come through you, but not a part of you. So I think we are the gardeners. We should not decide the color. Yes, we have a lot of our own thinking. But as a gardener, let us give love, affection to the child, even if it is COVID times. Allow each child to bloom to its fullest genetic potential. I think that's all the prayer which we can do. And we should try as a community to do it collectively.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. And last but not least, Chairperson Kanungu.
तीन बातें बिल्कुल क्विकली आप लोगों के साथ शेयर करना चाहता हूं। सबसे पहले डॉक्टर शेषाद्री, डॉक्टर आहूजा, डॉक्टर राव, डॉक्टर सिंह एंड ऑफ कोर्स प्रियंका, आप सभी का बहुत बहुत थैंक यू, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने कमीशन की इस रिक्वेस्ट पे अपना वक्त निकाला। जितने भी बच्चे दिव्यांगता से संबंधित और उनके माता पिता इस वक्त हमसे जुड़े हुए हैं और आगे जो नहीं जुड़े हैं उन तक बात पहुंच सकती है, प्रसारित हो सकती है। किसी भी प्रकार की प्रॉब्लम के लिए आप कभी भी कमीशन को मेल कर सकते हैं, कभी भी कमीशन से मदद मांग सकते हैं, चाहे केयर गिविंग से संबंधित कोई प्रॉब्लम हो, चाहे न्यूट्रिशन से संबंधित कोई प्रॉब्लम हो, किसी भी प्रकार की प्रॉब्लम को हम कोशिश करेंगे जो लोकल लेवल पे सॉल्व होनी है वहां इंटरवीन करें, और जिनमें आपको डॉक्टर शेषाद्री, आहूजा, डॉक्टर राव, डॉक्टर सिंह जैसे एक्सपर्ट्स की जरूरत है, हम उनसे आपको कनेक्ट कर सकें। आपके अभी भी जो भी मन में सवाल आए प्लीज हम तक भेजिए, हम पूरी कोशिश करेंगे एक्सपर्ट से उनके जवाब आप तक देने के लिए। और आखिरी बात, खासतौर पे इन बच्चों के लिए जिनके लिए आज हमने ये पूरा का पूरा सेशन ऑर्गेनाइज किया था, सभी माता पिता अपने बच्चों के लिए मन में बहुत प्यार रखते हैं, सभी के दिलों में प्यार भरा हुआ है। ये जो वक्त है, ये वक्त इस तरह का कभी जो है फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के समय भी एक जनरेशन देख के बड़ी हुई, सेकंड वर्ल्ड वॉर देख के एक जनरेशन बड़ी हुई, और भारत का स्वतंत्रता संग्राम देख के भी एक जनरेशन बड़ी हुई। ये वक्त है, ये भी निकल जाएगा, लेकिन आपके दिलों में अपने बच्चों के लिए जो प्यार है उसको व्यवहार में लाइए। ये प्यार को व्यवहार में बदलने के लिए बहुत सही वक्त है। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much. And with that being said, I'd like to also thank our audience members and all of our guests that were watching the show. Thank you for engaging us with your wonderful questions. As Chairperson was saying, please be sure to include some more questions if we didn't get to them. I'm sure our experts would like to take a look and answer to them a little later after this session. With that being said, you can see this entire session on all of NCPCR's handles. So do log into their social media handles and you can see the entire session at length length. With that being said, I would like to give a big thanks to Dr. Seshadri, Dr. Ahuja, Dr. Rao, Dr. Singh, and Chairperson Kunungu. Thank you for joining us. And that concludes our NCPCR session of Care for Children with Special Needs in COVID-19. Thank you so much. This is Priyanka Deo on behalf of NCPCR signing off. Namaste.
Thank you.